let's walk through your Geared for Worship templates. Locators. The first track is your locator track. Locators built into a song file will not transfer to the set. Therefore, this track aids in identification and even populating the set with locators. Some basic locators are provided, but a more comprehensive locators file is available at Geared for Worship. These locator clips have a note built into them which is mapped to the set button in Ableton. This allows you to literally play in new locators. You can just drag and drop and overlap. Super simple, straight from your browser. Let's look at some other scenarios. What if you don't see a song part? Simple. Command R and rename. What if you have to stretch a locator? That's fine. Just remember to stretch the note to the end. It may appear that this has happened, but if you look closer, you will see a slight separation at every measure. And since this is a new note, it will add a new locator when playing them. Do I have to add in locators, you may ask? And the short answer is no. If A to Z track operation is your MO, and the locator track gives you what you need, then sure, don't bother. However, if you want to have some flexibility within your set in terms of repeats or loops, you will need to add at least strategic locators. This feature is reliant on the IAC driver, so your IAC driver must be enabled. It is also designed to work on channel 6. Tempo. The tempo track is an audio track that we use to lock in the tempo mapping in order to make set building a breeze. We provide a few empty audio tracks. However, if there's an actual tempo mapping involved in the song, I recommend to copy and paste the stock click into the tempo track and rename. Once you have proofed your tempo mapping, go to your launch box, activate Warp, and press the follow button to change it to leader. One quirk to be aware of is that if you copy and paste tempo tracks from session view and paste into arrangement, it sometimes requires a second toggle between the views. Stop track. Next is your stop track. You can drag or drop from your browser or hit tab and copy and paste it into place. This stop track will stop songs automatically for you without the use of a MIDI controller or spacebar. This feature is also reliant on the IAC driver and set to channel 6. Next, this track allows you to queue up the next song or event in a set after a hard stop. You can drag or drop from your browser or hit tab and copy and paste into place, or even tab and choose stop and your next cue and copy and paste. This feature is reliant on the IAC driver, so your IAC driver must be enabled and set to channel 6. Because the stop and the next cues are stacked and occur at the same moment, the next track has a delay of 50 milliseconds to allow Ableton to prioritize the MIDI commands and execute accordingly. Pause. This feature is dependent upon a Max for Live plugin and may be something you choose not to use. I find this feature especially helpful in programming. This Max for Live device is only $4 and is available at jeffkalermusic.com. But the ability to pause for a moment and take off right from where you left is great for rehearsals also. So check this product out. Fade. This feature allows you to fade tracks out and back in. This feature is reliant on the IAC driver, so your IAC driver must be enabled and set to channel 6. Make sure that the top fade track is chosen in session view and that the envelope is set to MIDI control 119. Loop. The next 3 tracks, repeat, loop, and reset, all help to create the loop function and can function in a couple ways. Firstly, you can add the repeat track and just turn off and on at will, giving you spontaneity. Sure, there is a little pre-planning involved, but it equips you to be spontaneous in the moment. Combining repeat, loop, and reset enables you to set multiple looping points throughout your set. This is done by placing the repeat clip in the last measure of the repeat section. Then take the enable clip in the loop track and place it one measure after your target locator that you're repeating back to. Then take your disable clip, also found in the loop track, and place that into the penultimate measure of the repeat track. Lastly, take the reset clip and place it the measure after the repeat section. Now let's make sure our default positions of our track activators is correct. Repeat off, loop on, reset on, guide on, dynamic guide off. Now you can set up loops in advance, and when you move on to the next loop section, it is set up and ready to go. Pad. This track allows you to add in tonic pads in a couple of ways. One, by just dragging and dropping and editing audio files. But I suggest using a drum rack with MIDI clips, including notes to the corresponding pads. Stock click. So this track is just what it sounds like. It is for the stock click provided by the publisher or multi-track provider. I use this to build my click off of and just leave it in place and mute. Click. Click is a MIDI track to build your own click. We recommend our Geared for Worship custom clicks for this. Just pull in your click and extend to the desired end. I recommend that at the least you consolidate your click, and you can leave it as a MIDI file if you wish, or you can turn it into audio with a two-step process of freezing and flattening. Pitch. Pitch in the song file is a MIDI track. We have loaded a solo cello instrument from the Ableton Orchestra Strings pack. We have also added a blank MIDI clip in Session View for this. You can add MIDI notes in your clip view. We also recommend converting this into audio with freeze and flatten method. This is a great tool for starting songs that are a cappella or songs that have no intro and start with no pitch reference. Guide. This is an audio track to build your guide tracks. You may already have cues, you may record your own cues, or check out our Geared for Worship cues, volume 1 and 2. Personally, I do recommend consolidating this file. Dynamic guide. This is an audio track to build an alternate guide track to accommodate repeated sections and loops. Depending on your needs, this could be something you want to build per use of the song, and I would not bother consolidating this file for that reason. At this point, the songs and service files are identical. The song file contains a pretty extensive number of pre-color coded and labeled tracks for multi-tracks provided by publishers. We recommend customizing this to suit your needs. If you often get tracks with more electric guitar parts, simply add them into your template. You may be asking, can I use this song with multi-tracks from multitracks.com? Absolutely. There are two options. The first is to simply drag files in just as you would from any other publisher. While this works fine, it does not take advantage of the locators that Multitracks includes. To apply our template to the multi-track session, it just takes a few simple steps. Number 1, color code the tracks. White for click, black for guide, loop or percussive tracks are in red, bass in orange, guitars in yellow, keys in green, orchestra in light blue, vocals in blue, and if you would like to include a demo, in purple. Now, step 2, delete existing returns. Step 3, add 8 returns with the option Command T keystroke. Rename and color code returns, following the same color coding used for the tracks. 5. Route the new returns. 6. Choose the template in your browser. 7. Unfold the ALS file and highlight Locator down to Dynamic Guide. Now drag to the top of your multitracks file. 8. Now importantly, save as and rename in a folder. 9. Now just move click track to stock click and guide to the new guide track and delete the old tracks. A few tips about dealing with multitracks. First, let me say that I think they are a tremendous resource for the local church, so these tips are not complaints as much as they are tips I have discovered from using their products for years myself. Number 1, endings. Pay attention to the endings. They don't always tempo map the retards at the end of songs. Number 2, proof your chart. They say that these are designed to work with praise charts, but all that really means is they are based off of the same recordings. 3, things to watch for. Mixed meters in wrong locations, wrong time signatures, and wrong terminology. Make sure that you use an actual chart to proof these with. Number 4, customize your guides. If you use actual notated charts, considering adjusting terminology to reflect that of the chart. For instance, a first ending that leads back to a verse, use repeat verse instead of just verse. Another option you may want to consider is adjusting the spacing or the position of cues. For some worship leaders, hearing talking while singing is distracting.